I'm good. It's
Let's
leveled.
do this. Yeah, leveled up. Let's go.
Great.
Oops.
Started it.
Rangers don't get anything new.
What's up, party people?
Oh, sorry.
Party players? Maybe let's. What's up, party players? Check out Owl Eyes Art on Owl Eye Art. This episode is sponsored by Owl Eyes Art.
Start again.
I currently have nothing available for sale on my website.
Everything is flying off the shelves. Get in early. Custom orders are available.
Yeah, custom. Shoot, that's what I wanted to say.
All of this is true.
All right. So we have a few folks eating dinner, one eating mini eggs, which means
I'm gonna have a tummy ache later.
I have 4 varieties of drinks, so that's like eating.
nice.
Did Andrea let you get a hold of that bag again?
Pardon me? Oh,
Andrea,
yeah. If he asks me to take it away, I will have
it's the same bag he's working on. Jeez.
She packs so many.
You don't have to eat it all at once.
We're gonna mix some soda with this too.
Thank you.
Old enough to be an adult.
All right. Someone who is not eating dinner. Where did we leave off last time?
That's not fair. That's only me.
John's not eating dinner. He can answer too.
Oh my God.
Mrs. Q already had hot flashes.
She's not even
All right.
Here, yeah.
A lot of stuff happened. We fucked around and found out. And now we're in front of a cave.
Pretty
Let's
much.
go.
Yeah.
Love it. Is that what we're going with, or do you have anything to add?
Aurora has Petra goo in a bottle now. That's pretty fun. Excited to see how this plays out.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
All I remember is I communed with nature, and there's elemental stuff and cave stuff and other stuff.
Nailing it tonight. Just, like perfect.
Trying to find my notes.
No, we made it to the hot spot. We're outside of it. A little bit of travel, a little bit of contemplating. I think some messages were sent and people got naked.
You the party flash. Oh. I got a finger.
Got it.
They're waiting on you.
Oh, you're waiting on
There's something to say, Mrs. Cutie.
Because you went like this.
Mrs. Cute family. That's what this was. Sorry. Oh, ironically, for dinner last game, we also had baked beans and potatoes. Just happens to be what I'm eating for dinner tonight. I appreciate the continuity. I am really Mrs. Q in human form.
That was it. This was the definitive piece for you.
I also have that we improved the Borealis disguise. We decided to use tassels. That was important enough to write down. Oh, Angel contacted, and no, you contacted Angel, and you were like, "Hey, girl, cover for me," basically, and it was dope. I also have, at some point, I wrote, Basil brings it down. I don't know what I meant. What did you do?
I didn't listen back, so I'm not
Okay, well, he brought it down.
sure. It's oh no, I had the final hit.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah,
Brings it down. That's what it meant. I should take better notes.
You know, last night as I was prepping, I asked Sean, I'm like, I don't think you guys know enough for the next stage. Did I give you enough information? And Sean goes, yeah, we're fine. I have doubts now.
That's reasonable. I have doubts too.
If the group doesn't have hubris, we've got no campaign.
Nice. All right, so after after that fabulous recap, to add maybe a few more details and fill in some blanks.
Fine.
I guess 2 nights ago now, you were ambushed in the middle of the grove en route to the hotspot. Astra continuing to be a part of your party, guiding you. And you went toe-to-toe with Petra and 2 massive, like, earthen elementals who almost got away with the Borealis. But some quick thinking, some very heavy hits to end the fight earlier than Petra would have liked, sent Petra kind of blobbing into a goo, and both earth elementals slain, and you still in possession of the Borealis artifact, now covered in castle. Apoc thinking a little bit more about what he had read about fiends like Petra, realizing that she might not be dead, but uncertain about that kind of future.
Would you mind moving the mic just a little closer to Andrea? It's having a little hard time hearing.
I can
move
turn it
closer
up.
too.
Oh, there you go.
I've bumped it. I can bump up the input.
Is that better?
Way better.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry everyone. But after one more day of travel, starting to plan a little bit, take stock of how to kind of navigate what you know to be a superheated kind of situation, one that had forced Henders and the bravest of adventurers out of the caves of the hotspot before finding anything of use. You make it to an area of absolute silence. And it's only after 15, 20, 30 minutes of traveling that you realize that the area in which you're traveling, as you've gotten closer and closer to the hotspot, was just completely devoid of any life. No scurrying, very calm, no wind blowing, nothing rustling the soot and the ash underfoot. And as you traveled into, I believe, the late morning, early afternoon of this day, the like giant mouth of a cave started to become more prominent through the ever-present haze that kind of sits in the smoky air of the scorched grove. And as you came to this like entryway, this sort of mound that almost looks like a heave of earth, a heave of earth kind of out of the surface of the grove itself, with this gaping, wide open hole, the heat kind of palpable even from outside. You find yourself kind of staring into like the bore of this cave. B-O-R-E. As you take a minute to regroup, the silence kind of weighing on you in this space. Some of the notes that Astra had given before about the strangeness of this, the eeriness, some of the effects on, we're not in that map. Some of the effects that can happen to magic or to the earth in this area. And you kind of weigh the prospect of going down. Elle, the Borealis heavy in your hand. Those of you who have a shard of the aspect of ice kind of bumping up, cooling the inside of your cloak or the inside of your pocket. What would you like to do?
Elle, I think you look so rad carrying Borealis with the tassels now. I think it's really elevated it.
It's gonna like spin it around, kind of like you twirl a baton, and the tassels are just kind of going everywhere.
Yeah, they do.
Could you give me a performance check to see?
Of course.
I would like to say, you know what, Elle, that is fantastic. And I'm going to both inspire you and guidance you at the same time.
Yes.
Okay, so what do I add? I already rolled.
A D8 and a D4.
Okay.
This is very important.
You're gonna spin the heck out of that baton.
Okay, D4. So I got three on the D4, 5 on the D8. So I add, 8 to my roll.
Yep.
Which was 14, plus I have a performance of 4, so 18 plus 8. 20.
Six.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
You spin this baton and you spin it so well that the different colored tassels start to make like rainbows. And you are almost shocked by how invigorated you feel after Aurora gives you that inspiring word, and you're almost surprised by yourself. That for a second you almost like miss it, and then you catch it again and keep going before you hear Astra kind of go.
While Elle's spinning the baton, and I'm not sure how close she is to the actual hotspot, but do we see anything happening to the hotspot as sorry, not baton, I called it a baton.
Yep.
The Aurora Borealis, like, does it seem to affect the hotspot at all as she's spinning it? Like, as it gets closer and further away? I don't know.
That's a great question.
You can make either an Arcana or a Deception.
Oh, perception, please. This board does not know magic. Oh, that's
You can-
19
you can
plus 5, 20.
You can see clearly there. Apoc.
Yeah?
Guidance.
24 plus 4, that's a 28.
Nice.
Woohoo!
Guidance with range is amazing.
Oh my god. How do you have range? I'm not gonna have.
So in the lore of my character, the guiding whispers are the spirits talking into your ear as you get
Oh, I love that.
Nice.
the encouragement.
I like that too.
I love that.
Apoc doesn't realize they're spirits, he just thinks it's the fleas, but like, I think it has the same effect.
As your mini whispers carrying Aurora's voice
Yeah.
for some reason,
Yeah.
very odd, guide you as you kind of like doing a 360 as Elle is spinning the Borealis, this ancient magical artifact as old as Humblewood itself. You don't notice anything reacting. You're still outside the cave. You kind of feel like every so often a whoosh of kind of cooling aura as the Borealis comes closer and farther. But nothing shifting in the cave or around it.
Hey, does that thing do anything to the hole? What's so funny, Elle?
It's okay. She's a teenager. All these new thoughts.
Do I notice anything happening to the hole?
Guys,
I'm gonna say, since you're pretty busy, you can make a perception check if you want to try.
Oh, that's a 6. I'm too busy twirling.
Yep. Nope. You just hear Apoc's question about it.
And I giggle to myself.
I know that was my one idea.
Well, should we just enter it?
do we? Okay, Mrs. Q turns around to Astra and says, Astra, would you please remind us once again of how far people have got and what the dangers were before we go, just striding in as if it's, a yarn store?
Yarn store.
Yarn store?
Or, just moseying into yarn stores. Yeah.
I understand. Yeah, of course. The reports that we've gotten from the tenders who were able to go in, they were all able to sort of take the form of something with a little bit of fire resistance and were able to travel like an hour maximum before they had to turn around and their form would expire. It's a maze of sorts. The reports that we have say the largest of the tunnels get significantly hotter as you go farther and farther down. We think that that's the best way forward. we do know that there are like creatures native to the plane of fire that have been seen in there, like very, very small salamanders. We have seen small elementals, mephits, creatures made of fire and lava and magma. They've never really bothered the explorers that go in necessarily, but those of us who have gone in to see have tried to remain as hidden and as stealthy as possible. As far as we can tell, it goes quite far down into the earth, and as you go, it just continuously gets more and more hot. We do have one report of someone who tried to push their form a little bit farther. They mentioned caverns made of crystal at some point. I'm not sure how deep that got, but by the time they had finally turned back to come back to the entrance, they actually left with some pretty severe burns. So, by all accounts, there is a time when we can walk in and it will be uncomfortable, but not yet dangerous for the heat. But then there will be a time when those shards are going to come in handy. Any fire resistance you have is going to come in handy. If we do have to turn around, we'll just have to make sure we keep an eye on our time, essentially. We don't want to get stuck there with too far to go. We can always try again if we need to.
Mrs. Q takes us in. It's like, okay, I think maybe we shouldn't just, mosey on in and maybe come up with a little bit of a strategy here. And I gave myself an idea when I was talking about the yarn store. I haven't been to a yarn store in a while, yet I keep a very impressive stash here in my bag. And she pulls out this big ball of yarn. It's like giant. You don't know how it fit in the bag, but it does. And I don't need magic for that. That's just how it is in real life.
Okay.
He looks around for either like a stone outcropping or like a tree that's burnt or something, or a heavy rock. Does she see anything?
Yeah, for sure. So around here, like the rest of the landscape, it is this like black soot-covered area. Any trees you see have long been burned, some of them still trying to stay up. What you are able to find is like the outcropping by the entrance to the cave. You can almost kind of loop the yarn, if that's what you're attempting to do, around like a jagged piece that kind of comes up from the base, caves in a little, and then continues up the mountain. So there's like a hook almost.
Okay. Mrs. Q takes her yarn. It's like fuchsia. And ties it around this outcropping and says, okay, we're going to take this in with us. And then if we need to skedaddle, we know how to get out. And then we'll also be able to track which direction we've already gone. And maybe that way we can make sure we don't get lost.
Is it fire resistant?
It's acrylic, so it'll melt, but it won't burn up.
Cool.
Better than wool.
Yep, much better.
You know that magical substance, acrylic.
Yeah.
That's a thing in this world, right?
Sure, why not? Right. That's actually perfect. I was going to suggest we do that with rope, but this is even better.
This is longer than rope. I got yards of this stuff.
I agree. And it's a lovely color, so
Thank you.
love that.
So do we each have an aspect of ice and we each only have one? Like a shard of the aspect?
I have one.
Yeah.
I think we gave a few away.
I have one. You gave me one, Apoc.
Okay, I got my ring.
My understanding, this is mostly Steph, in reading it, is it'll last us an hour. So do we know how far in we have to go?
We don't. If we can travel quickly, we've only really ever sent one or two people in at a time. They can move a little bit faster, a little bit stealthier. If they had any kind of flying capabilities or fire resistance, they were able to move freely. we know, at least, as I mentioned, from all reports, the wider tunnels get hotter as you go down. A few folks have gone into the offshoots and just reported that they get a little bit colder. It's not as hot. It's not as, and it narrows quite a bit. If we're looking for any kind of creature, only small creatures would be able to fit through. So, by all accounts, if we kind of go in quickly and follow the widest tunnel, we should be able to maximize how long these ice shards go. We don't need to use it right away. The longer we can hold out, the deeper we can get. And if anyone has any kind of cooling spells or healing spells that they need to prepare, or anything that we might need to wait a night, I might be able to prepare a few, not kind of resistance, but ice-based magics that can maybe help us get a little bit deeper. I know that doesn't quite answer your question, Elle. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to explore that deeply safely. But we've never really had the push to really try and get as deep as we can.
Do we want to take the night to breathe before we take this plunge?
Might be worthwhile.
Whatever we can.
Sure.
If anyone wanted to just kind of walk in, it's certainly safe for the first 20, 30 feet or so. We don't really, by all accounts, we don't really need to be concerned until we get...
Does the first 20, 30 feet really count as going in, or?
Depends on what you're looking for, I guess.
Well, if we know that it's a lot farther, like what, if we know it's safe, then like, I guess we might as well just go all in if we're gonna do it. Would things change in the first 20, 30 feet?
I haven't really witnessed any creatures leaving this cave.
I take a peek. I go up to the edge and just like peek in to see if I can see.
It's strange. You go to peek in, it looks like black from the outside, but as you go to peek in and your eyes kind of adjust, you see this like reddish glow kind of a little bit farther down. You're just kind of looking from the entrance to the cave.
Right. I'm good to wait a night if we think, but I'm ready to go at any time.
If we want to wait, then prepare your spells for tomorrow. Sorry, Mrs. Q.
Is that now? I feel like we have some people who want to do it now and some people who want to wait. Who would like to go ahead now?
Yeah, I'm game.
I could go. I can go either way. I've got stuff to do if we're going to take a break, but I'm ready to power through.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it then, I guess.
Oh, let's
do it indeed.
Okay, well, if we're going to go now, I do want to... Mrs. Q, do you have a couple of eggs that I could have?
Yes. How many? Are we making an omelet or are we making a cake? Because it will
I need
depend.
mostly the egg whites. And I just I pull out one of my little cups for Reese. I just need a couple egg whites.
Okay, meringue. I've got you.
Yeah, so
and she does the one hand crack.
Exactly. It's meringue. I need a meringue. And like get it like very whisked up to really beat the air into it. And then I take like a half drink of it, so like the meringue is like all over my lips. Apoc, come here. And I give him a big kiss on the cheek.
Oh.
And then I go over to Basil. I give him a kiss on the cheek. I go over to Elle. I give her a kiss on the
She
forehead.
starts running away.
Beauties.
And then I give a kiss on the forehead to Mrs. Q. And we all have a telepathic bond, so we can speak to each other no matter where we are on this plane. Telepathically. I have to re-kiss you every hour for it to stick. So be prepared.
I'm a Apoc.
Pardon?
I asked with the meringue.
It's part of it's part of the components. I needed 2 eggs.
I think Mrs. Q asked something different, and we said it at the same time. What did you say?
Oh, I said that's a real shame for Apoc. Have to have a hourly kiss. Just
Apoc he'll be okay with it.
Speechless. All right.
Right. That was very interesting. As Astra kind of watched you take like 20 minutes to beat the egg.
I kissed Astra as well.
I was gonna ask if Astra felt left out.
What about me?
You get the sense that she knows what's going on, but is also just like, said we were gonna go, and then 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
How does this spell work, Aurora?
I can kiss up to 8 willing creatures, creating a psychic link between them for the duration. As long as we can speak the same language, we can communicate telepathically. Any distance, although it can't extend if we go to a different plane. So if we get banished or anything.
Was the kissing necessary, or was that your flavor?
Yeah, it's the somatic component to my spell.
Okay. Just wondering.
Yeah.
All right, shall we? As Astra kind of like, you see her kind of adjust her pack a little bit and like take a few pieces out and just sort of drop like old blankets, old bits that she doesn't really need anymore to the outside of the cave before just hefting it back on. And as she kind of turns and looks over her shoulder, we've also had reports that metals can get quite hot if they're non-magical or doesn't have any kind of heat protection. If there's anything you have on you that is metal without any protection from the heat, you may want to leave it outside this cave.
Mrs. Q looks at her.
Bang, bang.
Yep. And just puts on her oven glove.
That's cast iron. That's not going to melt, at least.
Yeah.
Astra kind of chuckles.
Sir Basil will, I guess he'll, because was it Apoc made the little like pouch in his chainmail or whatever. So he'll put the aspect of ice in there, just like kind of catch it and just put it in there, and then he'll get his sword and say skadoosh. It sounds like a frozen sword. He puts it on his back.
Nice.
Cool.
The chat is suspicious that the kissing was necessary for the spell.
Thanks, chat.
So Apoc's got to take off his scale mail, and I don't know if this is magical or not, but it is an armor of gleaming chain shirt that does not burn. There we go.
Yeah.
He's got a chain shirt still, but he does start to just take off his scale mail, and you can start to see like the muscles that you might not have noticed before, like his shoulders are a little bit thicker than previously, just because he's been firing that bow so much.
Just the right arm?
Just the one arm.
We were all like right there with it, like, oh.
Fuck.
Well, while Apoc's doing that, Elle is going to go over beside him, and she's going to take out all her crayons because they will melt in the heat. So she's going to leave them with his scale mail.
Wow.
Oh, that's really tragic.
That is
I'm sad.
tragic.
I don't want them to melt, so I gotta leave them here. But she's keeping her book with her.
The chat wants to know more about Apoc's muscles.
Which muscles? You notice his right forearm is also a little bit musclier.
Pickleball.
I think I'm gonna have to get rid of my candles because they're wax, so they'll end up melting. I am gonna have to strip down and switch into my sapphire dress because I think that's the only clothes I have that is non-flammable. So, yeah, I'm wearing a sapphire cocktail dress going into this.
Yes.
You hear Aster go, to be clear, I did say metal. You're not going to combust. Otherwise, I feel like we're all in a bad time. You know, feathers and fur and whatnot. But you do you.
I'm ready.
It looks fragile.
I'm ready to be prepared for any situation. And if you saw how much these clothes cost before we went into the cave, I'm not risking it.
That's fair.
You know, I understand. I have fixed this petticoat so many times. But she doesn't take it off because she doesn't know how to live without a petticoat on. But she feels your pain.
Definitely metal. Hammer's definitely metal.
Can I just say, I'm ready to be prepared is such a good statement
Spike.
from you, Eric. All right. As you all kind of like reshift after taking off your metals that might get a little hot to the touch as you go down. Astra waits patiently, takes a few things out of her bag. You notice that she takes out like a dagger and a pocket knife style pieces of equipment before hefting her bag back on, looking at each of you, making sure, giving a thumbs up or a talons up, sorry. And when you are all ready, she kind of turns and starts to lead the way down into the cave system.
So would it be, I'm not sure if this is a good idea, if we were to travel faster to get further, would that be a better thing to do? Because I could wild shape into something that could carry people faster, but I don't know if going quickly is what we really, I kind of think it might be good to go faster to get farther, but I'm not sure how that'll impact with the heat.
I think that makes sense, but I'm wondering if we need to make sure that we're going the right way. Like, do we need to sort of like slowly map our way out and then just go quicker so that we're not in there as long once we find the right route? Because we might be backtracking a bunch if we find ourselves in a dead
Are
end.
we just trying to get like to the middle? Will we know what we're trying to find when we find it?
You're asking Astra this, I take it?
Yeah.
Astra kind of pauses for a second, and you see her kind of hem and haw before sort of answering. With the existence of the cold spot being a thing, I think it's safe to say that this is where that aspect of fire is residing. I think we just need to find where it actually is. So, living flame, the hottest part of this, we know that it is active in the area. We know that the grove has been expanding, and I think it can be attributed to this. So we know that it leaves this place. I don't actually think this place is that big. I just think it's dangerous and it's hot, and the environment is unfriendly to those who can't withstand it. I don't know how deep we need to try and get, but I feel like we're gonna know when we get there. This is a giant creature. It can't really hide necessarily. I think we're gonna see it when we get
Okay then.
I mean, we just have to follow the big hole, right? We just stay to the biggest path.
At least for the majority of what we know. Seems like if you follow the biggest path, you hit some sort of crystal area, and then it gets even warmer, even hotter.
Okay. Hey, nice dress.
Thank you.
Oh. Okay, let's go.
If we are going to fast travel, as long as we have someone keeping an eye out. Elle, I don't know if you can carry everyone, but between you and I, if we wild shape into something that can run a bit faster than everyone, we can get a little bit farther down.
Now, just perspective-wise, how big is the big hole? Like, are we talking like
How big is
a
it?
rhino could run down it?
Yes.
Okay, like
Yes.
giant worm-sized
Yes.
hole. Okay.
Like the immensity of this.
Okay.
Okay. Secret tunnel. Secret tunnel.
Through the mountain.
Okay.
All right.
All right, let's go.
All right.
As you all hear in your heads.
Oh shit.
Astra will give you just a look, Al, and I'll follow whatever phone you take.
Ooh, okay.
Go, Al, go.
What do I want to do? What can I do?
This wild shape brought to you by Ally Arts. Check out Ally Arts.
New drop coming in March because it takes a while to embroider things. I think she's wanting to do like, what would Elle think would be a good idea, but might not necessarily be a good idea. I think she might. I think she's gonna do like a big bear, like try to be like something that people could climb on her. She can still walk. She doesn't think flying will be the best thing in here. Like a grizzly-esque bear.
As Elle transforms into a grizzly bear, Astra kind of transforms next to her. Astra's grizzly still having the like little rosy cheeks of the morning dove with a pale fur. Elle's looking like
she's a grizzly, but she's weirdly gray, like pigeons still are. And like she's got like the white kind of swirls on her chest. And weirdly, she just has like a bandana kerchief, which she doesn't actually wear, but this bear form does.
Cool.
Nice.
As you have two bears. What I would like to know is who is riding on who and who wants to keep an eye out on who.
Mrs. Q will ride with Elle because I'm assuming Elle will not be holding the aspect of ice with her paws. And probably.
No, I won't be able to.
So I will ride with her and hold on to the.
I'll hop
tassel.
on. I'll hop on with Mrs. Q.
Okay.
I'll head on Astra.
Same.
We're gonna boy bear, girl bear.
Girl bear. All right. As Astra and Elle start to, I guess, gallop in the odd way that bears can gallop very quickly. Who's keeping an eye out?
Gallop?
I don't know the right word. Run fast.
Mrs. Q, do you see anything?
We charge into the big hole.
Guidance.
Sorry, charge. My mistake.
Guidance, Mrs. Q. Guidance.
Thank you. I am keeping an eye out.
Apoc will also keep an eye out.
Okay.
Wait, does that mean we're riding in back or in front?
So it's big enough to ride like side by side, unless you want to have one bear in front and one bear in the
No,
back.
no, on the bear. We're not side by side on top of the bear.
No.
No, that's what I mean. So if you're on the back, are you keep like how does the bear the micro bear order? Like we got bear order, but then we got micro bear on top.
Yeah, I feel like if Sir Basil, all he would see is your back. He can't see anything because he's so
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
So he'd probably have to be in front of you. He'd have to be Little Spoon.
Hey,
And as a bear, I have keen smell, so I do get advantage on perception checks that rely on smell. So if I'm trying to smell fire, I
It's
am
everywhere.
good at that. I'm everywhere. I'm good.
You're every bear?
Smokey the bear.
Only you can determine forest fires.
oh my gosh.
You can find the aspect of fire.
All right. As you sort yourselves out and the bears start to charge into the open mouth of this cave, what you notice as the bears start to run, it immediately kind of goes dark, and it's very odd. The texture underfoot turns from this layer of soot and ash and charcoal that you're so used to trudging through almost immediately into like a stone, hard dirt pathway. And you can see around you that what was initially kind of covered in this like black soot, or what you thought was just covered in black soot, the deeper the bears go, you start to notice that the walls of this cave and the floor have almost taken on a glass-like sheen. It starts to get a little smoother, a little less like natural stalactite, stalagmite and a little more, I'm going to use the word chiseled, but not in a man-made way. More like if anything had fallen off this cave wall due to erosion, it fell off in a sheet. Very reminiscent. I think you've seen bits of this before, as you were once in an obsidian tunnel, where you first kind of felt some tremors through the ground on your way to find the Boreal. As you kind of get the sense of charging through on bears, this like black, shiny, glass-like tunnel. It gets a little tough underfoot as the walls and the floor seem to take on this shiny, smooth, sharp appearance. Elle, every so often, you and Astra are having to kind of readjust. And at some point, some of your paws might get a little scraped as you kind of step and slide onto a sharp edge of the obsidian. But you keep trudging.
Question.
Yes.
Do any of these terrain constitute as mountain, swamp, or underdark?
Not swamp or underdark. It's a cave in a... Not necessarily a mountain, but it is a hill made of rock with a cave. Can you select caves for this?
Can I select caves for this?
Yeah, like, is it one of your options?
Arctic coast, desert, forest, grassland, or mountain. It's very, like, high level.
I'll give it to you for now.
You'll give us a mountain? Okay, so because it's mountain, and it's one of the favorite terrains, proficiency bonus is doubled. While traveling for an hour or more in your terrain, it doesn't slow your group's travel. Your group cannot become lost except by magical means. You remain alert to danger, even when you're engaged in another activity. You can move stealthily at a normal pace while alone. That doesn't work. Find twice as much food while foraging. Yeah, so it's not difficult terrain if we're traveling for over an hour.
Not difficult terrain if you're traveling for over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ranger's
Sorry,
gonna
difficult
ranger.
terrain doesn't slow your group.
Ranger's gonna ranger. Love it.
Ranger. Yeah.
How long have we been traveling for?
For the first little bit, it's been like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay, so after an hour.
But good, don't
Yeah.
let me forget.
I won't.
Because it will come to play, I'm sure.
Okay.
As it starts to get longer from when I first kissed everybody, you can see me like stirring up that little cup that I've been keeping. and I like take another sip from it. I lean over to Mrs. Q, give her a kiss the bear, and then I blow a kiss over to Basil and to Apoc, as long as they're within 30 feet and they maintain this link.
Okay.
And Astra.
Yes, and Astra.
Is that after an hour?
Yeah.
Okay. So when it gets close to the hour mark, you can certainly redo that. It's canon, you've redone it.
I like if
you're
I
only
like.
going for about
I'm gonna try and do it whenever we have downtime. I'm gonna keep doing it just to keep this link going.
Okay. It has only been about 15, 20 minutes. I will ask for those of you who are keeping an eye out for perception checks, please. Elle, you can go ahead and make one for smell if you'd like. You are running, so it's going to be a little bit trickier for you. The bear stats that I have is 40 feet around, so at a dash, you're going 80 feet per round, more or less, which is significant. So.
And I'm only breathing through my nose, so I can smell everything.
That's a terrible way to run.
Oh, I know, but I'm a bear.
It's a 26 for perception.
Okay.
I get double because it's favorite terrain.
Okay.
Double proficiency.
26. Mrs. Q?
19.
Okay. And L for smell?
And
10. You just cannot get the smell of soot out of your nose for right now, unfortunately. Also, running, breathing through only your nose sucks. And you realize you should probably use your mouth too. This is Q and Apoc, although Apoc, you are the first one to notice this. As you start, after 20 minutes, going on 30 minutes now of running, it's getting a little uncomfortable on the bear, but you get just the natural inclination that you've traveled a decent time. You start to notice there's been it's been very dim light. You've kind of only gotten sort of reflections of Basil's like sword that has kind of a very faint glow off of the mirrors of this wall. But you start to notice that there's this it's like a red hue that kind of just sort of starts to emanate deeper into the tunnel, kind of bouncing off the glass-like surfaces. You have no idea how close it is, no idea how far it is. The heat is getting quite oppressive. It's uncomfortable. You're very uncomfortable. It's a little bit tough to breathe, Elle, especially for you and Astra as you run. But Apoc, you notice it first as you are kind of watching this light sort of bounce off the walls. You see the walls start to take on sort of different textures. Some parts start to become less glass-like and almost like a very dull. You start to notice like kind of holes that have been bored through almost. And in some instances, in Mrs. Q, you notice this a little bit after Apoc, but you start to notice very concentrated points of sparkle or shine, very concentrated points of reflection of this red light that's just kind of almost like permeating. Instead of it being glass-like on the walls, you notice that these are built into the walls. You look down and they're built into the floors, and they're just very concentrated points of shine, sparkle of some sort. You are moving quite quickly, but Apoc, I will say, with like a 26 perception. You notice that these are almost like positioned in kind of like porous holes. Like there's quite a few of them, and it's almost like glittering. It's making the cave better. That's a good word. As you are running and moving along, you see this change in terrain.
It looks like somebody physically put something there, or is it just uniform and atypical that they would be this?
With a 26, I'm going to say you notice 100% it is not uniform. You notice it is very much like abstract, filling in places with this glitter.
Does it look natural or magical?
The aura that this gives of this cave moving from a glass-like structure to dull to sparkling itself is almost not magical in the sense it's made of magic. It's magical in the sense of awe, almost. You get this kind of sense of awe looking at it as the cave starts to sparkle around you. These glints of lights are glinting off of the walls and the floor and the ceiling. I will also say with the 26, as you kind of continue down this area, you start to see movement. Flickers of little flames that seem to hop from one forest hole to another and to another. Very fast, almost like the blink of an eye and they're gone. But you start to see little things moving from hole. You are still running full force on this bear. What would you like to do?
Somebody there?
Your voice echoes. Sorry, I should also mention the other thing that you've noticed throughout, that everyone's kind of noticed, is offshoots. Every so often. You kind of catch them as you pass them almost. Sometimes you barely notice that an offshoot opening is there due to the darkness of it. But you have been noticing offshoots, some larger than the other. Astra kind of guiding to the largest route. But so far you've been pretty steady on the biggest path. But as you shout anybody there, your voice kind of bounces through this chamber. As you hear like the breathing of the bears going as well, that kind of ragged in and out as they've been running.
If Apoc shouts out, Elle's gonna slow a little bit. We won't quite stop moving, but slow down a bit just to see if we don't want to get surprised by anything down here.
Astra will follow suit as you slow down just a little bit. Aurora and Basil, if you'd like to make a perception check as well, as you notice that the bears have slowed down, you're more than welcome to.
Perception's really bad.
I think I'm doing my makeup.
Only if you think you'd be keeping an eye out, noticing the bears have slowed down.
With a 2, I think I'm busy getting my eyeliner on.
Good for you, girl.
I guess 3.
Bear.
I guess a 3. Sorry, with my +1 to perception.
The adventuring equivalent of doing your makeup in the car on the
That's
way to work.
exactly what I was thinking.
Basil?
Rolled an 11.
So Basil, Aurora is too busy doing her makeup at this point. You notice everything, the sparkling, the offshoots. A little bit later than everyone, you're now just starting to kind of see this cave sparkling. As Elle slows down to almost like a lumbering trot, Apoc again with the highest perception, you notice those little glints of flame. It almost looks like it's scuttling. And you can see them very, very small. The size of the holes in the wall are like they're not massive holes in the wall where it looks like you could fit through. It's like forest. And you see these little flames almost like scuttle. You see kind of a line of them going one after another, very quickly from one hole to another, A few others catch your attention off to the other side, a few on the ground. And as you kind of look over, you're on Astra, look over Astra's bare shoulder, you see one that kind of scuttles up from underneath you and lands into another hole.
We've slowed down, but we haven't stopped.
Like a trot.
How long are we still just in that 20-minute, 30-minute mark?
You're around the 30-minute mark now. You are all very much sweating heavy. It's hot down here. The hottest day of summer, and then some. You can feel it. There's a heaviness to your chest.
I want to try this, but I don't know how you're going to play it. So part of Natural Explorer, and I know that this triggers after traveling for over an hour, but does allow you, when tracking creatures, you learn the exact number, sizes, and how long ago they passed through the area. So if I can catch a glimpse of one of these things, I would like to throw a hunter's mark on it and try and track how many are kind of passing by and surrounding us using a first spell slot.
Interesting. Okay.
And right on.
I like it. I like it. Easy enough to do, as you can catch them long enough to cast your hunter's mark. So you can get, what was it?
You have it,
just tracking how the number, right?
the number, how many, how long ago they passed through, and then hunter's mark gives you advantage on survival checks to find it. Perception or survival checks to find it. You can make to find it.
Okay. Perception or survival. Okay, so go ahead and make a survival check.
With advantage. I can't use perception.
Okay. You're trying to get an idea of what these creatures are, how many.
Yeah, how many.
Behavior.
Yeah.
I'm going to say perception's not going to do it.
Okay.
I would give you
Okay.
survival or nature,
Okay.
is what I'd give you.
I'll take survival. It's a 12.
Okay. As you target one with your hunter's mark, you get a little bit of a flashback to what feels like an eternity ago. In real life, it's been about 2 years. To the night that you met a little fire salamander named Luke, who burned a few holes through Mrs. Q's apron trying to get to her cookies. And you, I think at the time, had cast a little beast bond with Luke. As soon as you release your hunter's mark and try and kind of hone in on what this creature is, you get a very strong sense that these are more Luke's.
Oh, guys, these are the little salamanders.
Aww.
Do you remember their names?
But
I remember Luke, but I'm not sure about the other ones. Warm. I think one of them was Warm.
Luke. Luke.
you get the sense as you try to remember anything about Luke, anything you've read, anything that kind of you've figured out over the time. You remember Luke being docile, a curious little salamander, not unlike the salamanders that grew up on your farm, just made of fire. You remember maybe not to touch Luke or have Luke touch you for fear of a little bit of a burn. You see now all of these little flickers and flames are these little salamanders. And you notice now, as you have your hunter's mark on them, that they all seem to be moving in the same direction. Straight ahead. It's almost like they're hopping in and out of these porous holes.
Shall we follow them? Perhaps they're going towards a hotter source, which is probably where we need to be.
When in doubt, always follow the flaming bugs.
Salamanders.
Sorry.
Oh, the spiders!
Why does it have to be spiders? Why not butterflies?
Much safer option. You've continued moving, is that correct? You haven't stopped moving yet?
Yeah. If we've got the kissy bond, then can Elle ask Apoc, is it anything like, is it dangerous? Should I stop or we keep going?
I'll keep going. These things are cool.
She goes to start running again.
Do you remember Luke? Were you there for Luke? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
Guys, when did we meet Luke? This is all internal.
No, when would we have met Luke?
Is that the one who tried to steal my oatmeal raisins?
I think so.
I wasn't there either.
They were really good cookies.
I'll search Luke in my notes, but it doesn't come up, so.
That was that old? Oh man, it was a long time ago.
To give some context, this was like on your way from Winnoning Reach to on your way to whatever the first town you started in to Winnoning Reach. This was a long time. This was when Dace was still part of the party.
Yeah.
Like 50 sessions ago.
Ashboro.
Ashboro was the one that
Ashboro burnt down.
Marshview. No,
Marshview.
whatever it was. Can't remember. I should know.
Meadowfen?
Meadowfen, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very long time ago. But as Elle starts to pick it up, Astra starts to pick it up as well. And Astra starts to pick it up as well. And as you continue down, keeping an eye out, you notice that glittering of the cave only gets more and more intense. As this like red glow, again, it's hard to tell where it's coming from exactly because of the way it's glittering through. But you're almost surrounded by this like sparkle that happens. As you move for another like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, anyone wearing like heavy or medium armor, you start to feel it weigh on you. You are getting like slick with sweat. Any kind of clasps or bands to keep your armor in place you can actually see your sweat pouring through like the leather clasps. You are hot. Basil, your helmet is starting to get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It is also a non-magical metal, unless you left it outside.
Oh, okay.
Aurora, you in your dress. Is it a silk dress?
No, it's made of sapphire.
Made of sapphire.
Whoa.
I don't quite know what that means.
Let's see. Conductivity of sapphire.
The conductivity, or is it
I was looking like, is it linen or silk kind of situation?
You're saying it's made of actual precious stones?
Yes.
It's like the tightest bodycon dress.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, sapphire has a low coefficient of thermal expansion, making it resistant to thermal shock. It is a heat dissipating material.
Oh my god.
Of course
That's
it is.
fascinating. However, this is my world.
I'm picturing Mystique, like a Mystique on stage.
Two.
Are you not entertained?
Regardless of what your clothing is made out of, the points where heavier materials or thicker materials are resting against your fur is starting to get, not starting, is uncomfortable.
I'm
Any
really,
bonnet misses you.
I'm really regretting leaving the rest of my clothes at the front of the cave.
It is hot, everyone. It's hot. At the end of your hour, Aurora, blowing everyone kisses. Elle, you start to feel the bare forms start to get a little weaker as you near the end of your hour. You notice that the cave starts to kind of narrow just a little bit, and you've been passing offshoots here and there, as mentioned. But the cave starts to narrow. This glittering gets almost to the point where it's hurting your eyes a little bit. And as the hour comes to a close, your bear form starts to shift as everyone kind of scurries off, you and Astra.
No, I don't know if Elle is that good at telling when wild she was going to end. So, like, she's slowly left, like, anamorphing out of being a bear. But they're still on top of her until everyone's just, like, splat on the ground.
I love that.
Are we getting lower and lower? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think
And
Mrs. Q and Aurora are on Ella. We're just slowly getting closer to the ground.
Astra has kind of taken care to move you, Basil, and Apoc off of her bear form as she shifts back and just like lands 1 foot as a bear, then 1 foot as Astra as she finishes her transformation. Before Aurora and Mrs. Q kind of land on Elle's back as she finishes anamorphing. And as you all rest for a second, Astra and Elle breathing heavy after running for so long, you catch your breath, take in some surroundings around you. And you, for the first time, being this close to the cavern walls and floor, notice that the glittering is coming from stones, from diamonds that have like built themselves into the porous rock around you. The rock itself, this like jet black, and the diamonds kind of reflecting or burning with this orange glow that you're not too sure where it's coming from. As you all get a chance to kind of catch your breath, we'll take a breather there, 5 minutes, come back, so we can stretch and move around and get some tea. But we'll pick up right there.
Cool.
Okay. little bit of an extended break. And we will pick up as Astra and Elle transform out of bear form, and as you take in your surroundings, this tunnel getting just a little bit narrower, but still massive to the point of echoing. You notice that the sparkling of the walls and the floor are diamonds that have been inlaid or are naturally occurring in this chamber itself, as the rest of the stone is this like dark black rock.
Can I harvest the diamonds?
You can certainly try.
We would try.
Can I just try and harvest the diamonds?
Okay.
Just a little bit.
What do you have to harvest the diamonds with?
I have no idea. Everybody help me. We need to get some of these diamonds.
I left my hammer up top. It's metal.
No.
Frying pan. She hands you her frying pan.
It's hot. It's cast iron.
Oven mitt.
Right, make a strength check.
Oh no.
Can I cast guidance to help with this?
Do I have,
Sure.
do I have anything here?
Are you gonna cast guidance? Because I could do something.
Yep, I will cast guidance, but we should help. I feel like this is important.
Let's see.
I was young once, you know. An eye for diamonds.
Okay. All right. Strength.
Yeah, just strength.
With a D4.
Oh, with guidance. Well, good thing I rolled a 19. Plus 3. So 22, please. I have a +0 to strength.
Oh,
Wow.
You tell me how you are using this fry pan to get the diamonds, though. Because you absolutely can with a, what'd you say, 22?
Mhm.
22? I'll say you can get 2 diamonds, but I want to hear how you're going to use a fry pan to do this. I'm just curious.
Oh, okay. I'll burn a spell slot to do this because I think it's fun. I'm gonna use my ghostly jaunt that lets me kind of like phase, and as an extension of the frying pan, I kind of phase to the other side, and then like unphase as I pull the diamond off the wall.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Love that.
nice.
Love that. Burn your spell slots. Do it.
Second level. Who needs a second level slot? Let's go.
Yeah.
How much
I love
diamonds?
that.
How much diamonds did I get? If you were to equate it to a gold value's worth.
Oh, if I were to equate it, so it's incredible. The diamonds are natural. This is not a man-made place, so you get chunks
Ooh.
of diamond. You're very used to seeing precious gemstones, and even though you are used to seeing them more in their polished form, you get like chunks of diamond, like
Yeah,
the size of your
naturally occurring diamond is more valuable this way.
Yeah.
Having been to a diamond mine
I forget whatever the
recently.
Five Cs?
the 5 Cs. No.
No.
Trying to remember the.
Oh.
You get one diamond. You get 1 diamond worth around 300 gold and one worth around 500.
Wow.
With a 22, that's what you get.
Awesome.
Are you
Perfect.
still using your daunting mistiness? Just keep going.
No, I know when to push my luck.
Are they like
I hand you back the frying pans like, thank you, Mrs. Q. I don't want to lose your frying pan in the wall. I know it's important to you. I wanted to see if it works. It did, but as Poppy always said, don't push your luck because it'll push back.
she happily takes back her frying pan and comments on how it is important to her and it does make the best flapjack she's ever made.
And I hand you the 300 gold piece diamond.
Whoa, that's nice. Maybe we can get some matching jewelry. We find a
Notice
person.
that she gave you the cheaper one.
Oh, I didn't mind.
Hmm.
I'm a simple gal. 300 gold's worth of diamond is enough for me. Thanks.
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm gonna need to get my ears pierced.
We could get matching earrings. Elle, do you want
Do
to
I
get
have
on this
ears?
action?
Ears.
Do I have ears?
You have ears, you don't have earlobes.
Yeah, I've got ear holes. Like,
You-
I don't
you
know
like
if that'll work.
You
Like,
can get your bill like a nose ring, but
A
we
septum
doing-
bill piercing.
are we doing nose piercings?
Mrs. Q would do it.
Let's do it.
Wait. Don't you need a third diamond?
What? This is huge. We just get it into smaller pieces.
You're gonna break it?
I have a couple diamonds on me already.
But they're not cave diamonds, right? One of them's gonna be like a fraud.
Mm.
All right. As you spend a bit more time, around like the 5-10 minute mark, making sure you get your diamonds and having this discussion about nose piercings, Aurora, the exertion of banging this heavy cast iron through the ground, even with your ghostly jaunt, is hard. Your limbs feel very, very heavy. And as all of you kind of sit in this space for a moment, not even moving, you start to really feel the heaviness. I need a constitution save from everybody.
Everybody. Is it due to the heat?
Yes.
Does my fire resistance help with this?
Show me your fire resistance.
I'm wearing a fire res. Resistance to fire damage while wearing this garnet ring.
So it's resistant to fire damage, but it doesn't mean you don't feel the heat of this place.
Just
I'm gonna
curious.
say. Yeah.
9.
9.
16.
13. Ooh, this one.
17.
Okay. The 2 9s. Aurora, especially, as you finish, you are breathing hard. You take a level of exhaustion as the heat is starting to get to you. Apoc, after kind of tracking and keeping an eye with your natural explorer skill, and really trying to keep track of all of these little salamanders, really try to figure out where to go, you also feel the heat starting to get to you and take a point. As the rest of you, although the heat is oppressive and kind of pushing on you from all angles, you're kind of distracted enough by the glittering of this. So keep in mind for exhaustion, we are using the 2014 rules, not the 2024 rules. If you mark off exhaustion, it's not correct on there. It's the pre-rules. So I think it's
Legacy.
It's the legacy rules. So
-2 to d20s and -5 to speed.
No, that's not the legacy rule.
Oh,
That's the new
disadvantage
rule.
on ability checks.
Thank you.
There you
That's
go.
what- So just keep that in mind because it's changed.
Sounds good.
You didn't
Yeah.
notice it too. So as you are like feeling the oppression of this exhaustion, and starting to really feel the heat, you collect your diamonds and you're able to look forward a little bit more, as you kind of see the source of that glow that has been reflecting off of the diamonds and really brightening up the space around you is coming from farther down. As Astra kind of looks around a little bit and just kind of rubs her eyes, you see some of her feathers have started to like stick to her from running in her bear form. And she just sort of mentions like, I really do think we should keep going as fast as we can. We covered quite a bit of ground, which is good, but it is very hot. I'm good to keep going whenever you are.
Yeah, Mrs. Q's happy to keep chugging along. But you do notice that she like pulls out this like little pocket fan that's, frilly. And, like, you know, old ladies who go to the races and need little,
And do you want to point, once Elle has been out of bear form, she does go to Mrs. Q and take the Borealis.
Mhm.
So if anyone is around it, it does kind of give off a cool, like, little bit of breeze. So if anyone's feeling a little hot, you can just hold the baton in front of you.
Same as my sword. It gives off like a frosty aura.
You are able to find some places of reprieve, but correct me if I'm wrong, I think both of those are quite close, within 10 feet.
Yeah.
So anyone wandering too far outside of that will get a blast of heat once more. And although the auras give off this kind of cooling effect, you can still feel the heaviness in your body from being in the heat. As you continue down and continue moving forward, keeping an eye on the salamanders, I believe your hunter's mark has run out by now.
After an hour.
After an hour. So it's still going. You have another 20 minutes or so. You cast it around the 20, 30 minute mark. You notice that these little salamanders are very cute. They're just about like the size of your palm, so smaller than Luke. And they are now at a point where they're kind of skittering along the area where the floor meets the walls. They're not really hopping in and out anymore, although some are. But you notice the stone itself is now this kind of rough-hewn porous stone that the diamonds are buried into. And as you continue down another 10, 15 minutes of walking, following the salamanders itself, the heat closing in around you, you notice that light start to get brighter and brighter and brighter to the point where it's almost kind of blinding you as it reflects and sparkles off the diamonds in this cave. And you almost miss it as you see the cave kind of take almost a quick turn down into this like wide, very, very wide. Pit is not quite the right word, but pit.
Chasm?
Chasm is a better word for it. And as you peek over the edge, just kind of peek over the edge or turn the corner to take a quick look down, without taking too much effort, without needing a perception check, you see this like chasm illuminated by what looks like massive crystals. Think of the like crystal caves in Mexico kind of thing, where the crystals are the size of your body and then some. That's what we're talking about. These massive, massive, like 15-foot diameter octagonal crystal shards that seem to crisscross as this chasm kind of slowly moves even farther downwards, as there is once more a shift in the environment. The glow itself is almost coming from within the shards. It's almost like it's lighting up the space. And it's like a bowl. It's like the inside of a geode, where you are standing on the lip looking down into a massive crystal geode bowl. As this cavern seems to dip downwards into it. You do see offshoot caverns as you kind of look around and look off to your left and right, but the widest area remains downwards. What would you like to do?
Are these crystals like giving off heat, or they're just glowing?
The heat itself is around you. If you'd like to try and get close to the crystals to see if they're the source, you can do so if you'd like.
Sure.
So to get down a little closer to the crystals, because you're standing on the precipice, there is a little bit of a lip downwards, and then the crystals start.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so they're like, it's no longer a smooth. There's no more rows, there's no more trails. You would be landing on crystal if you were to go farther down this cave. I'm hoping that gives a visual of what it looks like.
Sure.
So there's the lip, there's a little bit of a drop, and then it's just these massive crystal shards. If you want to get a little bit farther down, you're going to have to drop down the lip to get to a crystal. Okay.
How big is the lip?
It's like a 5-10 foot drop.
Okay.
And these crystals are huge.
Do you,
Is that what you have to do?
Basil, do you want to go down or you want to get a little closer?
Yeah, I wanna take a closer look at those crystals.
Okay. Elle's gonna come up beside you and be like, yeah, that's what you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay, she's gonna put her wing on you and cast spider climb on you. So until the spell ends, which is I can hold it for an hour, you can go move up, down, across, vertical surfaces, upside down, along the ceilings, anywhere, like with your hands free. So
It's like Spider Basil, Spider Basil.
yeah.
Cool. So Basil, feeling invigorated by that, is gonna leap down and kind of like just walk along the lip onto or up to the crystal, not onto the crystal yet.
Yeah, easy enough with spider climb. Really good idea. As you spider climb down, no need to make any checks. You get up to the crystal. It doesn't appear, the like air around the crystal doesn't appear any hotter than the rest. Go ahead and make me either a perception or investigation check, depending on what you're doing to this crystal. Are you just kind of looking at it, or are you trying to determine something about it?
Knowing Sir Basil, he'd probably go up to it, one, just to see if he noticed anything being up close, and then he'd probably, with his sword, like tap a big crystal. Just see, like, does it like do anything?
Okay, so if you're gonna tap with your sword, you take your sword out, you tap it, and you hear this like as the crystal kind of sings, and it just kind of fades, but you hear it echo downwards throughout this geode. And as you kind of like look down, you're sort of hanging, I would imagine almost kind of like sideways off of the side
Yeah.
of the crystal. You're kind of hanging sideways. You go to look down, and you get this wave of dizziness just wash over you. As it is down, these crystals like crisscrossing, blocking your view of what's next. You do not see a bottom.
Okay.
You just see crystal. Your sword does not do, I'm assuming it was just like a tap. Your sword does not do like much to the crystal.
Yeah. I imagine it as if like, what's those
tuning.
like, yeah, exactly. Kind of like that.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Do you all know what I'm talking about, the crystal caves in Mexico?
Yeah, just I can send. All right, I googled it. I can throw it to the group.
Yeah, throw it to the group because it's pretty wild.
I'm envisioning a cave full of crystals.
Whoa, what the heck?
But just picture bigger.
At first, that's like, Eric, is that you? And then it's like, nope, that's not Eric.
Holy smokes.
Just picture bigger, and Basil, just picture that if you're looking straight down, don't worry about where the guy is standing. Like that is what you see when you're looking down into this chasm.
That's so neat.
This is the view. And these crystals have this like orange glow. The actual rock itself that the crystal is jutting out from is this like, it's still this black, like igneous style porous rock that these crystals are jutting out from with this like orangey yellow glow. This is why it's disconcerting to look down.
Do we still see the salamanders? Like, are they going down? Like, or have they like stopped?
Just give me a perception check if you're looking from where you are.
Sure. That's a 3.
Where you're standing, because you're looking down and kind of looking up and you're focused on the crystal, you don't see the salamanders outright where you are. However, the wall is still porous. You still see
Nice.
You still see those holes. It's like a pumice stone. So you still see these holes in the walls that the salamanders were moving through. They could still be there. You just don't see any popping around.
Sir Basil's going to call up to the group and say, do we keep going down? I can't see a clear path, but I feel like this might be the way that we need to go. So we're going to just be walking around the crystal.
Basil, lead on.
Can I perceive like a path down? Like if we were like hopping from crystal to crystal, almost like big stairs or something?
Yeah. As he jumps down, I'm going to follow him.
These crystals are big. Like they are big enough. A good example is like a bike path. If you think of just the normal width of a bike path, that is like one face of the crystal. So when I'm talking big, I'm talking big.
Yeah.
And they're like 10, 15-foot diameter. So one face is that big and they're huge. So stairs, no. Is there a way down? If that's the way you'd like to go, you can hop from crystal to crystal. Yes, that is doable.
Okay.
If that's the way you'd like to go. There were other offshoots up above as a reminder. The choice is yours.
Oh man, I just respected a feather fall.
Sorry, did you cast Featherfall?
No, I don't have it anymore. I jump thinking I'm gonna cast Featherfall, and it doesn't go.
I mean, the crystal is huge, so I don't think you just fall on the crystal.
In a dress.
Apoc jumps as well.
Yeah.
He's following in.
Mm-hmm. I'm picturing like the dress flies up, by the way, and I'm like struggling to just keep it modest.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
Fix it after you stand up. No one saw.
Mrs. Q says, this is why I always wear bloomers. Just in case.
It's a good tip. I'm gonna write that down.
Right. As you all start to, there we go. This is what I'm looking for. Farther down.
Hey.
All right. As you all start to hop from crystal to crystal, whoever's leading the way, Basil, you led the way to the first one. I'll assume you lead the way to the second one.
Sure.
We're going to go through this in a series of checks. So for the first check, I would like everyone to make either an athletics or an acrobatics check to move from crystal to crystal. If you are doing something special, please tell me. If you're doing something special, please tell me, but you can choose either athletics or acrobatics to move from crystal to crystal as you make your way downwards.
Has Astra also started following? Elle's kind of unsure.
Astra would bring up the rear in this case, making sure that everything is kind of in front of her.
Okay.
You see her kind of like muttering to herself as she kind of sees you watching and gives you a wink and just kind of says, in case we need to fly down, I'll be ready to transform. And a bit of a nervous laugh.
Okay. Wait.
All right,
Okay.
let's
So
see.
Elle will go too.
If we go down, does it look like there's a path to get back up?
You get the sense that this is not a path well traveled. You
That-
get the sense that no one has really been here before.
That didn't answer my question.
You get the sense that you could probably come back up if you
Okay.
could navigate these crystals.
Okay.
It's not like they're going to, as you land on these crystals, they are solid. You hear
Gotcha.
the like, shung.
Mhm.
Okay.
They're not going to break on you necessarily, but you'd be
Basil-
climbing.
Yeah, before Basil jumps to the second crystal, he's gonna like telepathically say to everyone, do we want to do this?
I think we're kind of committed, right?
Are we? I don't
Do we
know.
have a better way forward?
Before she leaves, Ella's gonna ask Astra to help her, like find. She's got some rope on her, and she wants to just tie it somewhere to secure it, and will bring it as far into the crystals as she can, just if we do need a way back.
Have we run out of
And
yarn?
No.
but like for climbing back up, Elle didn't
Right.
want, you know, like textile strength wise, she's thinking, well,
It would be easy enough, kind of like the yarn on the outside, easy enough to find like one of the shards of crystal near the top. Not all of them are these like full long shards. There are some broken bits here and there from erosion and things like that. Easy enough to find one that you can loop some rope over at the top.
yeah, that's what Elle wants to do, to at least leave something trailing. And Basil, I'm gonna keep spider climb on unless something breaks my concentration or you ask me to remove it. So
Love it. So we're doing this? Just to check one more time.
I'm already jumping down. Don't look up, Basil, while I jump. Very rude.
Oh.
Is it like
I land on Basil.
Whoa.
is it like a
Hundreds.
big one that we're like sliding down? Or is it like little pieces and we're like trying to
No,
find footholds?
They're pieces the size of a path.
Yeah, so we just is it like just slowly like a downward trajectory on these things?
No,
So, yes, sorry, I'm trying to explain it as best I can. So, that picture that Eric sent, if you're looking straight at the picture, picture that as you looking down into this chasm. So, there are like faces of the crystal facing you. Some of them go all the way across the chasm. Some of them are like shards jutting out from the wall. And to get down, you gather that you can like hop from one crystal to another to make your way down. Some of them are angled where you could slide like a little bit, but it's not like a slide all the way down to presumably a bottom.
Okay.
But you'd be hopping from like crystal to crystal to crystal.
Okay.
If one were to fall, how far would they fall?
Mm-hmm.
As Apoc rolled both a nat 20 and a nat 1. Because he's rolling with disadvantage.
Uh-huh.
well, I mean, you said looking down, like you can't see the bottom, meaning that there's crystals everywhere. So you probably just land face first on a crystal.
You'll land and it'll hurt.
Pick the
We'll see how quickly you can stop yourself.
All right.
pick the bad day to give up Featherfall.
All right, so those first rolls, please. So the acrobatics or athletics, we have a nat 1. If you have exhaustion, you're at disadvantage.
6.
Hold on, give me a second. Let me see.
18.
I use the please. That's like
So is there any, so Elle got a 23 because she's just like rocking and rolling down here. Is there any way she can see that Apoc is kind of struggling and I don't know, just try to like grab for him or try to like see that he's going and just like shoot a thorn whip at him to at least try to stop him from plunging down?
I need to get you one thorny whip. I feel like you've used it like this a few times now.
See, when Apoc falls, do you make a noise or something?
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
you guys are getting ahead of yourselves.
Give me your rolls. So we have a nat 1, we have a 6, we have a 23. Mrs. Q.
18.
Okay, Basil.
Okay, I would want to cast something before I jump, so before I roll.
You technically don't have to jump, you have spider climb.
Okay, that's true.
That's true.
Oh, that's true. Okay. Okay, so Basil with spider climb as you're A-okay. Elle, you're A-okay. Mrs. Q, you kind of very gracefully wiggle yourself off of one onto another. You see Apoc, Astra, and Aurora totally biff it. On the first jump down, Apoc kind of over jumping and missing the next crystal. Aurora under jumping, Astra kind of landing and missing. You see all three of them kind of like hit the main crystal and that you were aiming for and spatter off in directions.
Like falling?
Yes. Hold on. I have something down. So as you see each of them hit the crystals and fall, they kind of all fall on their back on the next crystals 10 feet below the one you were aiming. And you will all take 7 points of bludgeoning damage as you kind of fall on your back. You get the wind knocked out of you for a second, and they are like 10 feet below all of you now, the crystal you were in.
Oh.
Apoc on one side, Aurora and Astra on another.
So, Elle, you looking over, watching Apoc kind of being like, oh, I should save him. You see, as he hits the ground, he actually like, he kind of finds a way to just hit with his feet as he actually falls and doesn't take damage. He looks pretty cool doing it. It looked awful coming off the crystal, but you realize as he hit it, it was all kind of just planned. As his perfect landing kicks in.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
In your head, Apoc, you're gonna hear Elle. So, okay, one quick question about like the kissy bond. If I'm just talking to Apoc, can everyone still hear it? Okay, Elle
no,
doesn't.
No. So you can talk directly to each other.
Okay. Elle's just gonna just say to Apoc. Okay, are you trying to impress Aurora? Like, why? I've never seen you do that before.
No, that was like, I didn't realize it, but there was a little bit of water on the, no, not water. That would make sense here. There was a bit of sheen, something weird that I stepped on, and I kind of just lost my feet. But like, kind of like, you know how cats always find a way to land on their feet?
I don't like cats.
I don't either. Well, maybe a little bit.
They're a menace to my people.
Interesting.
I lost an uncle to a cat.
Are Vulpin technically cats? No. They fuck cats.
No.
You have a shopkeeper friend in Alderheart who's a cat.
Oh yeah, Tabitha.
No, Eliza.
Oh, Liza.
Holy
Tabitha.
wait, Eliza's a cat this whole time?
I thought Tabitha was the cat.
No, Eliza's a Tabitha's a magpie.
Oh shit.
Come on, keep up.
I thought it was a tabby cat. That's why it was Tabitha.
Shoot, that would have been better. Damn it. Missed opportunity.
Eliza.
Eliza.
Alright, I pick myself up. All right. Hopefully the rest aren't as painful. Come on, guys. We should keep going.
Are they all 10-foot drops?
You can
Maybe?
do it, Basil. Guidance.
Well, I'm just spider walking everywhere.
Nice.
Spider Basil. Can I,
Or
since I can walk ahead, can I like scout out like a clear, better path for them that's like easier? Like almost like as if I'm using my help action.
sure. Go ahead and make a survival check for me to create a path down. Or scout a path down.
Okay.
Guidance.
With guidance. Yes, that's fair.
Where's my survival? Where are you? Okay. I'm also gonna use one of my abilities, Frost Rune, to help me with this roll. But let's see.
You also have, you have guidance too.
Which guidance is what?
D4.
D4?
Plus a D4.
Do this first. So that's a 21.
Okay. So yes, you can help by finding the crystals that are like short 5-foot drops, some that are like you don't even have to jump, you just kind of wiggle your way down. Some crystals have like fallen and crashed into others, so it's an easy slide down. You can certainly assist.
Mm-hmm.
That will help to lower the difficulty of them getting to the ground, but it still requires physical ability to do so. So you've made the roll a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm. Can we make it as like it's me using my help bonus action with everyone, so like they would possibly get advantage on some of these checks.
Interesting. I like it. I like it. So you scouted a path down. You can kind of go ahead and scout the path down. I'm not going to allow you to give your help action to everybody, but you can give like one per turn, per attempt.
Yeah.
You can give them a little bit of extra help. If you know that the slide is really tough, what you could do, you scouted it out before, and then you could kind of help roar it down kind of thing. That's the idea of it. You've seen it, you know that it's difficult, and you can help someone specifically get over that obstacle.
Sure.
I'm not going to let you give your help action to everyone because that's, quite frankly, insane. That's far too much of an advantage.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me, as Apoc just jumps down to the next one without any fear in the world.
Yeah, you don't have to. Is it just like all fall damage, or is it just like to a certain fall level?
You don't fall prone after taking fall damage.
Okay.
The die for fall damage changes from a d6 to a d4, and you don't take damage for the first 30 feet of your fall. So, whee! Kind of just like a what are those? Those squirrels. Honey squirrels? No, those like the flying squirrels. They just like jump down and kind of just like sugar gliders. Thank you, like a sugar glider. Apoc's just jumping down. In this world, they're honey squirrels.
Sure. The other thing you noticed, Basil, before we got a little too high, is as you are scouting down, you start to notice that there is movement. The deeper you get into this cavern.
Okay.
Movement throughout. You can't quite get a good glimpse as you're focused on getting people down through the cavern. But you start to notice that there's other things moving about down here throughout the crystal. For the second check, same as before, I'd like you all to go ahead and make an athletics or an acrobatics check. Still make one for me, but I know you have the fleas.
For the help action, I'll go Mrs. Q or L. So this time will be.
What do I get?
Again.
Oh, nice. Mrs. Q also, given like seeing the close call that Apoc has, just like gets the immovable rod out of her bag and just holds onto it just in case he slips.
Nice.
Love that. Okay, so Mrs. Q with advantage with Basil's help, Elle and Aurora and Apoc.
Gosh,
All right, my first roll was a 2. My second roll was a 1.
Okay. Elle?
19 total.
All right, Mrs. Q, what was it?
I'm exhausted with this.
Yep.
6.
6. And Astra, I got to roll for her. She also fits. All right, so as you all take your next jump, Basil, spider climbing, Elle, you're able to make it again, no problem. Once again, wait, what did you get?
11.
11. Once again, you see Apoc, Aurora, and Astra not make their jump very well. Apoc, no problem, as the fleas once again kind of push him back and help him land.
Okay. It doesn't hurt.
Mrs. Q, what did you roll again? Sorry?
Excuse me, a 6.
Oh, a 6, so you also do not make it.
With advantage?
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Elle, you're the only one that made it.
I'm very acrobatic, guys.
You're a bird.
Seeing as I'm more aware of everyone now because I'm helping them down, and I see 3 people pick it and fall.
I don't. I catch myself with my movable rod.
Oh, well, I can cantrip Featherfall.
Oh.
I have it, so we're good.
Just holding out on
Well,
it.
no, everyone,
thought you would be better.
I was going to use it last time, but then everyone just kept talking, so I was like, yeah, I guess I won't use it. But I use it this time, but if I can.
God. How many people can you do it on?
5? But as soon as they land on something, they're good. And then I just would have to keep casting it because it's.
But it's a cantrip, so you can.
Yeah.
No, it is not. I'm looking at your. It's a first level spell. You have once per long rest.
You're right.
Level
Oh,
spell.
you're right. Sorry, I misread it.
Yeah.
You're
But
right.
how long does it last?
Until they land.
Okay.
Yeah. But they would land on their feet.
Okay, so are you using this on your falling
Yeah.
companions here, Basil? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so as Basil's helping out, sees everybody start to fall, it activates Featherfall, so there's no damage taken this round, as anybody who is having trouble kind of lands very gracefully. Aurora kind of like Mary Poppinsing it down a little bit to land very gracefully on there. As you are able to kind of make it through the second bit of crystal. You are now in the thick of the crystal, and as you all kind of look up, look to the side, the only thing you see is either black rock through this bright crystal that almost hurts your eyes. I would like all of you to make a Constitution save.
Oh, okay.
And this isn't disadvantage.
So you already used that. Constitution, you said? Wanna go first?
Constitution.
Rubbish.
All right, Elle.
Nat 20 for 23.
Aurora.
Nat 20 for 20.
Whoa, Mrs. Q.
7.
Or Basil.
17.
Elle. Or God, Apoc. Jeez Louise.
2 plus 3 is 5.
Oh.
Shoot.
Look at us.
Okay. Anyone who rolled lower than a 14. I think that's you and Mrs. Q. As you are moving through Apoc and Mrs. Q, your head is starting to hurt a little bit. You kind of look up and it looks the same. You look to your left and your right and it looks the same. You look down and it looks the same, and you start to panic as the world kind of starts to just sort of mirage a little bit. The heat becoming a little too much as your vision starts to blur just a little bit. You try to rub your eyes and open them again, and it's hard to tell how far, how close the next one down is as you peek out over the edge. As everything seems to just start blending together, the auras kind of like wiggling at the edge of your periphery, kind of like the start of a migraine. As you start, the world around you starts to mirage, not unlike a mirage in the middle, and becomes even more disorienting. Doesn't quite matter for you because you already have disadvantage on your ability checks. Mrs. Q, you now have disadvantage on your ability checks until the effects of the mirage.
Okay.
Andrew looks like he needs to do that for a second.
Well, so question for you. If Sir Basil or if Spider Basil were to go Hulk Spider Basil, could I just carry Mrs. Q and walk down?
It's a great idea.
You could try.
Let's do it.
As long as we don't climb for more than an hour, because that's as long as I can hold concentration on spider climb.
Yeah, I assume it's only been like a couple minutes, right? Because we're just hopping.
I should clarify, this is a physically taxing situation. You are moving, like, keep in mind the drops between each crystal, these crystals are 10 feet in diameter. You're dropping like 10 feet from crystal to crystal. You're having to keep, it's like split glass. This is physically taxing. You've taken like 15, 20 minutes here to move through this crystal. This is a lot of work. it's like you're hiking up the side of a mountain, but you're spending just as much time holding your muscles in place to get down. So it's not easy work here.
Mhm.
Put that in with the heat, put that in with the like disorientation of where these crystals are. It's getting hard to maneuver.
Okay. Fair.
Yeah, so it has not been a few minutes. You've been at this for about 20 minutes.
Okay. While I still have the spider climb, Sir Basil, seeing how disoriented Mrs. Q is looking, will go Hulk Basil and try and pick her up and continue carrying her. That's cool. While still, like scouting for people, so hopefully still able to use help.
I'm gonna say you might have to. You're doing a lot here, Basil. I'm gonna say you might have to pick one or the other. If you are theoretically carrying Mrs. Q, your help.
Okay, sure.
Your focus is split quite a bit. You have to keep that in mind. If you're directing people to make it easier, carrying Mrs. Q.
Okay, sure. So then I'll just carry Mrs. Q, and then my help stops.
Okay. So you have still scouted the route ahead, so the check's still a little easier, but there's no further advantage.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, so as you're moving through this next stage, those of you who are not being carried, keeping an eye on the time, but those of you who are not being carried, I do need another athletics or acrobatics.
Apoc just falls forward, kind of like Miles Morales
One down.
falling off of the tallest skyscraper.
What's up, Ninja?
That's a nat 1, but as he hits the ground, he kind of just tumbles and rolls forward, and you just see the dust come up around him.
It failed. Oh my god.
Can't keep getting away with this.
I need to start making you
can't
pay
keep
for
getting
this,
away
but I wrote down what I wrote down, so.
You can't keep getting away with it. I rolled 2 2s, so I'm no better.
Oh my God.
What is happening?
I got an 18.
And Basil, I would just like you to give me an athletics check to maneuver around in your big form carrying another creature.
Sure.
All right, Aurora, another 9 points of bludgeoning damage as you fall and smack. This time, I'm going to say you like land most ungracefully just straight on your bottom. As
Ow.
your legs have fallen out from under you and you just kind of land on your butt. The wind knocks out of you. You just sort of like lay back, look up at
When the wind is knocked out of your butt.
Yep. As you fall another 10 feet down to the next crystal. Athletics check, Basil, just to see how well you're maneuvering.
24.
It's tough. The space has now gotten a bit tighter in your Hulk form, especially if you're sticking to the walls. But you're able to shimmy just enough. How long does your Hulk form last?
Great question. Let me see.
He can't keep getting away with this.
It only lasts for 1 minute, so.
Your Hulk form is now gone.
Yep. Would I still be able to carry him? I mean,
You're really small.
but I'm also very strong.
Truth.
Well, no, I'll let you decide.
Yeah, the size ratio is the tough part. If you'd like to try carrying Mrs. Q, might be more of a like lowering down sort of situation as opposed to carrying on your back, if that makes sense.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I like how that will play out. Maybe like Shabal's strength, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Mrs. Q. And then he will still try whatever he can to assist her down. So like dropping her down or whatever. Yeah.
as you all kind of prepare for the next kind of leg, you have no idea how far you've gone, no idea how far you have left to go. The heat is getting oppressive. Elle.
So I had rope. So have we passed the end of my 50 feet of rope?
Yes.
So we've gone more than 50 feet, guys.
You have a sense that you have gone more than 50 feet down.
That's all I got.
What was that, Mrs. Q?
And mostly falling.
Mostly falling. Yep. It has not been the most graceful way down.
Apoc's so graceful.
Every time you have landed in one way or another, that like shoo from the crystal kind of echoes throughout the chamber. And as you all kind of like ready yourself, Aurora, getting your breath back, standing up in your dress, heaving for a second, Basil getting ready to lower Mrs. Q. Apoc, you've face planted, so
If I fell on my butt, can I get resistance for having an ass that just won't quit?
Yo, let's go.
no bud.
Only if you admit that you fart like a little bit.
No, I'll take the full damage.
Apoc,
I mean, I can't make that call, but I think that would be funny.
This was me.
Aurora is gonna take the full damage, I think. As you all kind of get yourself up and ready yourself for the next stage, Apoc, after you have face planted, you like get yourself up and stretch back out, and as you kind of open your eyes, you kind of like have to rub them for a second, and you're unsure at first if it's the mirage, the auras around you from the heat. But you swear that as you get up, you are looking face to face with this like very curious, very fluffy, flaming butterfly. Looks to be like the length of your forearm. It's just hanging out on a crystal, kind of like at the end of the crystal that you're on. Just kind of landed, kind of looking up at you, wings this like blistering flame.
Huh.
Are we all like, would anyone else see this? Or is it just him on his crystal?
Right now, it's just him on his crystal with the highest passive perception of you, as all of you are getting ready to take the next.
What do I do?
Do you do anything?
Butterfly.
Fuzzy, flaming looking butterfly.
Cute.
Have you found the bottom yet, Apoc?
Is there like another drop down?
You like look over your shoulder, see more crystals, but on the crystal just below you.
I don't see the bottom, but there's some cool butterflies.
You kind of look up and you look across, and one of the crystals jutting out from the wall way on the other side that is just out of your way. You see another butterfly.
Do you guys like coffee? Kind of holds it up to the butterfly. He takes a drink. Nice and hot.
You just drink hot coffee in a hot cave?
I would assume the coffee's hot. Got a headache right now, so it's probably from lack of caffeine. It's been a couple
mad
episodes.
illness thing, so I don't know. Maybe it's always the perfect temperature. I don't know.
Hey, Astra, what are these butterflies?
You hear Astra's voice coming from somewhere behind you as she sounds a little like unsteady on her feet. She just looks. Would she know? Let me see if she would know. Yes, she would know. She looks over and she kind of like blinks for a second, rubs her, well, you don't see her rub her face, but she shouts or whispers as loudly as she can down to you.
Mentally.
Oh yeah, mentally. I forgot about that. She mentally whispers into your head. I don't remember the name for them exactly, but I'm pretty sure they are normally denizens of the plane of fire.
Ooh.
So we knew there were creatures here, but this is We knew about the salamanders, not about this. They are usually quite territorial. Maybe just back away slowly?
Back away where?
Oh shoot.
I think we'll end right there, actually, for tonight.
Oh no.
I apologize for leading us down a bottomless pit.
Ah, that's the adventure.
Oh, it sounds like we're going the right way.
Well, I mean, like, Andrea kept going, like, there are other paths, guys, but we're like, no, jump